Hi, my name is Kurt from Codecrafters. This video is from my Roblox Masterclass course, which you can find more about in the description below. Okay, so today we are going to be having a look at the Explorer tab. Now, the Explorer tab is the first of two tabs we're going to be looking at. Now, a tab is just a kind of a visual window that comes up on your screen, which allows you to make a lot of changes to your game, and they're really important when it comes to making anything on Roblox Studio. So the first thing we need to do is figure out how to open up the Explorer tab, as it's currently not on our screen. So to open up the Explorer tab, you're going to want to go over to View. So go up to the top, go across to View, and the Explorer tab is the first one on the left over here where it says Explorer. Okay, so left click on that one there. Now the Explorer tab will come up somewhere on your screen, but it probably won't come up in the position that it is for me because I've already set it to be there. It will probably come up somewhere around here or somewhere on your screen. Okay, it won't be locked in anywhere. It will probably just be floating around your screen like it is now. So you can either leave the Explorer as it is now, or you can fix it in a certain position. Now, it is up to you, but I would recommend putting it in the same position that I do. That just means when you're looking at my screen and looking at your own screen and at your own screen, they both look similar. So what you want to do in order to move this is to hold down left click on the top bit of the tab. Don't hold down on this bit here because it doesn't work. Don't hold down on this bit here because that won't work either. You need to hold down on the top bit right at the top where it says Explorer. Hold down on that bit and you can now move it around. And as you move it around, you'll be able to see a little icon comes up. And these are the options on where to fix this in place. You can fix it taking up half of the screen here, or you can fix it just taking up this small section there. And that's what I'd recommend you do. So if you do want to put it there, hover your mouse over that icon on the far left and just let go, and it will automatically slot in that area for you. And that's what I'd recommend you do. Okay. If you'd like to make this bigger or smaller, you can just hover over the edge of it here, hold down, and increase the size of it like that there. But doesn't need to be too large. It does take up room on your screen. I think about that size there works fine for me. But again, it might work slightly different for you. It's completely up to you. Okay, now we have the Explorer tab on our screen. We need to explain what it is. So the Explorer tab basically shows you all of the objects you have in your game. I might make this a bit bigger. Now, these objects don't all just exist in one area. They exist in multiple areas, as you can see. These are the names of some of the areas in the Explorer, including the workspace, players, lighting, material service, and you keep going down. Okay. The main one we are looking at for now is workspace. And the workspace contains most of the visual items you can see. If you can see something and it's not a player, chances are it's in the workspace. Okay, so any parts and stuff we add in will also go inside the workspace. Now, to open the workspace, you'll notice that it's currently closed, and you can tell by that because there's a little arrow next to it which is pointing inwards. Okay, if you want to open this, click on that arrow and it will open like that there. And you can see what is inside the workspace. We have four things. We have a camera, we have terrain, we have a spawn location, and we have the base plate. Two of those things we can see. The spawn location I can select by just left clicking. That's how I'm getting this blue outline. I'm just left clicking on these objects. And that spawn location here, which I've already touched on, but it's where the player spawns in when you play the game. The base plate is another object here. this is this massive part I mentioned earlier as well. But the other two objects we can't actually see. The camera is, well, how you're able to see. It's visual camera here that you're moving around. That's the camera, okay? Even though you can't see it, it has to exist. Otherwise, you'd have no way of looking at the world, okay? And the terrain, even though we don't have any, if we added terrain in, which we'll look at how to do in a later lesson, it would be stored there, okay? So now you know a bit about the workspace. Let's add a part in and see what happens. So let's change from view back to home, and let's click on the square here to add a part in. And you'll notice that it adds it in here, and we can see in the workspace an object called part, okay? So we can very easily select this part, and we can then, you know, do our move tools and all that kind of stuff that we learnt previously. Now, what's cool with this is that it offers a different way to add objects into your game. So currently, to add a part in, you have to go up to home and click on that part icon there. However, that's not the only way to do it. You can also go over to the workspace, hover over it, and you'll notice a plus icon appear next to it. If you left click on that plus icon, it will come up with a massive menu of all of the possible objects that you can add into your game. Now, if I start scrolling down, most of these objects you probably have no idea what they do, which is completely fine. As you progress through this course, you will understand more and more of these objects. But for now, we are just going to add a part in. And you can see there, frequently used is right at the top, part. Left click on that, and we've added in a second part there. Okay, and we can, you know, drag that around and do whatever we want with it. So from now on, I'm going to be adding in objects using that method, not by going up to here and clicking on parts here. The reason is because if you want to add in some other objects that might not exist up here, the only way to do them, to add them in, is by going over to the Explorer. So while this works for some objects, doesn't work for all of them. So I would recommend using that method to add your objects into the game. So now we know what the Explorer is, I'm just going to tell you a couple things about parts which we may not have discussed before we move on to the next tab, which is the Properties tab. So we know how to add parts in, and we know how to move, scale, and rotate them, but we don't know how to do much else. What the Explorer tab now allows us to do is to not only left click but also to right click on these objects. So if we right click on this part, for example, this menu comes up here. And there's a couple options here which I want you to pay attention to. The first one is duplicate, which if I left click on that, it will create an exact copy of that object, which is really good once you start changing the object a bit, like scaling it, and it makes it more difficult to add another one in and give it the exact same scale and exact same rotation. So that will hopefully save you a lot of time. The other thing I want to show you is if you right click again, to delete the objects, you can just press delete up here. Okay, and the same for this other one, you can just left click and click delete. Okay, now obviously you can also do these methods, so duplicating and deleting, by using some shortcuts. Now these depend on your device. So for me, it is using Command D to duplicate and backspace to delete. However, it will most likely be a bit different for you. So I would recommend right clicking and looking to see what is written next to it on the right here. And that will be the shortcut that you use in order to be able to do that operation. So in order to duplicate it in this case, or in order to delete it. Okay, so that is the Explorer tab. Have a go at that and adding some parts in. Get comfortable with that, because next lesson we're going to start looking at the properties tab.